I drank like a million Monster Hydros, half a root beer, and ate like 10 candy bars. So like, let's crush it. So we planned something that was like 230 miles, I want to say. So it was this giant potato loop thing. And, you know, again, like gravel bike, because we want to be fast on the road, and, you know, 50 pounds of gear or something terrible like that. This time we had planned to get water along the route. So we were hoping to get water in Gorman. We were hoping to get dinner in this awesome little kind of mountain town called Fraser Park. And this would go through the Los Padres Mountains. So really amazing, beautiful spot through Ventura County. It actually crosses a few county lines, I think. Again, pretty remote where we wanted to camp. So we start this trip, you know, super early in the morning. Of course, I wake up with like stomach issues because, you know, who knows, maybe I'm nervous, whatever. So we get delayed and we start riding, you know, up the normal way, going through the valley to get to Santa Clarita. From that point on, we hit this old historic highway. So before like the main highways were built here, there was this crazy highway that kind of snaked through the mountains up above Santa Clarita and took you over towards Gorman. And it used to have these historic inns, these like marts, these restaurants, and these buildings were built out of stone. So when you actually ride through this, it's kind of like reliving the lost history of what, you know, this like 10-hour adventure via old-fashioned cars would feel like, you know, what old Hollywood would feel like, kind of. I'm new to this bikepacking thing, so of course I'm underprepared for whatever reason. I think I'm prepared. I planned from A to Z and I failed. So we get to the top of this amazing dirt thing. I feel like we're like 6 hours into our ride or something. I realize it is burning hot and I no longer really have water. I'm like, oh my God, when is the next stop? It's all the way in Gorman. It's like 20 or 30 miles away and it's like 95 degrees. The sun is blistering. There's no escape. There's no cars because this road is closed to cars. And, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. So you just survive, right? I just descended. I bonked. I was pedaling like 5 miles an hour and having to stop on the flats. There was a crazy headwind. So we eventually get to this gas station and I'm like, oh, can you get me a root beer? Like, I don't know why. Like, I just really want a root beer. So I drink part of this root beer and it's like so sugary. My teeth are going to rot out and I feel like amazing. I feel like $1,000,000 because I'm like, hell yeah, my bonk is over. And we're doing the calculations and we're like, oh, it's not that far until we got to Fraser Park, which is our stop for dinner. So we're going to have to pick up food there and figure out how we're going to bring it with us to our camp spot. Okay, well, I screw my root beer top on and put it on the back of my bike and off we go. Amazing. We go to Fraser Park. So we're riding along. And, you know, it's a little bit of a climb and we end up getting to this cute little mountain town where we stop in a grocery store parking lot to pick up supplies for dinner. And we're debating, do we go into the grocery store or do we pick up at a pizza place, a Mexican restaurant? It's a small town. There's not very many options. So as we're debating, I'm like, I'm thirsty. Ooh, root beer sounds super good. I open the root beer bottle and get shot in the face, like literally like punched to the face. Like I am in the middle of a parking lot, of a grocery store parking lot, and I am screaming and now crying. We had climbed like 2,000 feet and we were already at significant elevation. And what happens when you shake up a soda bottle? It explodes when you open it. So I had effectively ridden and shaken up this root beer bottle. And now I can't feel if I lost my teeth. It shot me in my face and I can't feel the bottom half of my face. So I'm crying, of course, embarrassing moment. Some guy like runs over in the parking lot being like, are you okay? I just saw you got shot in the face. And I'm like, thank you. I know I got shot in the face. I'm so glad it didn't land in my eye, but like, do I have teeth? Like, help. Like, you know, my lip is bleeding. Luckily, all my teeth are still real. And my lip just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So like Jason runs into the grocery store. He has to get me ice. So now I'm like icing my face. And I'm like, what are we going to eat? Obviously, he's like, the grocery store did not have food we could like eat. It's like not a normal grocery store. There's no like pick up pre-made stuff and go. So I'm like, okay, let's just go to the Mexican place. Burritos sound good. They're portable. They wrap them in tin foil usually, and you just stick them in your pocket and go. It's like the easiest dinner. This is all the dinner we're going to eat. Our breakfast, because we're packing super light, is like one Cliff Bar or something like that. We're not eating real food for the rest of the ride or stopping. So I'm like, okay, let's order them. So I order like 2 chicken burritos. We ride down and pick them up and realize they are wet burritos. They are in plastic clamshell styrofoam little boxes with sauce and cheese like oozing out of the sides as you tilt it slightly. And what do we not have? A way to carry our burritos, because we can't stick them in our back pockets unless we want salsa all over us. And there's literally zero capacity in any of our bags, like unless we want to get all of our sleeping bags. So we take the plastic bag that the burritos came in, and Jason's just like, I'm just going to carry it until we get to our campsite, which is like, I don't know, 20, 30 miles away. I'm like, okay, you're going to carry, like, they're wet burritos. They're heavy. So it's probably like at least 3 pounds each. So it's like 6 pounds of burritos in this like shitty plastic bag. And, we're riding, we're climbing. And all of a sudden, I look down, I'm like, oh my God. And Jason's like, oh my God, they gave us forks. Why is that relevant? The forks are splitting the bag. This is our only food. The forks are splitting the bag. So we're like, oh no, we have to eat these burritos. This is the only food we're getting until 3 p.m. tomorrow. So we pull off, we find this cute little spot at a picnic table, and I'm just like, okay, I just got to eat this entire burrito. It's like now or never. So I shove this burrito into my body, like cheese, chicken, cheese. And I'm like, okay, just shoving it into my face. And throw the trash out. We're like getting on the bike, and then I'm like, okay, like 15 miles until we get to the campsite. It's not a big deal. We'll just get there. We'll set up the tent. It's going to be amazing. No. My stomach, being half Asian, does not like dairy. I want to throw it up, but I can't, because I need these calories. I can't waste these calories. They have to stay in me. So kept swallowing it down, finally get off to the turn, and start climbing up to the campsite. And all of a sudden we hit sand. And at this point I'm losing my shit. I'm like, I can't do this. Like mentally, I can't. So I sit down in the sand. I'm like, Jason, can you just like go ahead, please find the campsite like that we're going to camp at. And all the campsites are full because of COVID. Everybody's camping out. So we do know that we can camp in the middle of the forest. So all we need to do is find like a place in the forest where we could pitch our 2-person tent and then like go to sleep. So as I'm waiting, I hear this shh. I'm like, what is that? I hear that shh again. And I look, of course, I'm there trying to like, I'm still swallowing down my throw up, and there's a rattlesnake just chilling there. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like not okay. Like you can't make this up. Like, I'm like, okay, great. Like at this point I'm like, fuck you, rattlesnake. I'm just out of here. Like I take my stuff. I'm like, come at me, kind of thing. Move. We finally set up our tent, go to sleep. Most amazing night again. Like this is the theme. Like it's those nights camping under the stars, pitch black. We heard owls and like all these other little animals, and didn't see a single soul. And we got up in the morning and just busted out like 100-something miles all the way back to Santa Monica. And it was going great. But I had worn new bibs that trip, and I was getting saddle sores. So in the middle of descending this like really big route, I decided I couldn't do it anymore. Like I felt the pain. So I'm like, Jason, do you have duct tape? Do you have any sort of tape? And it turns out he had duct tape. So in the middle of our descent, I had to like take off my bibs. So I was basically naked, and I had him put duct tape over my saddle sores to get home. We got home, like it was great, but then taking off the duct tape was like, it took skin off. You can imagine. But yeah, it's like, shit, let's do it again. Let's do another crazy adventure.